EP, you're on.
Good evening and welcome back to What Matters Gulf Coast. Today we will have some sort of a different format. We do have our favorite council member, Mr. William Carroll from District 2, and he's going to give us a follow-up to a few things that have happened within the last couple of weeks. Number one on the agenda, of course, would be the redistricting and how did that vote go and what are the ramifications of that final vote. And then, of course, with redistricting, we have got to cover annexation because that is a hot topic and it will be very, very pertinent to the redistricting effort. So he will bring us up to date on that. And before we close out, they are also in the process of making a decision about the Civic Center. Now, Mr. Carroll would know what that final decision is because he was privy to some of the meetings or some of the committee meetings or whatever that we were not privy to. So if we will go on and get Mr. Carroll on board, and if he would kind of start with redistricting and what happened with all of that. Mr. Carroll. Can't hear him.
Mic's on.
Okay.
My mic.
Now we can't. It's on.
Okay.
Can you talk to us a little bit about redistricting? Exactly what happened and what do you see as the ramifications of that?
Well, redistricting was, in my mind, a success. We were able to acquire a 601 vote on acquiring a fourth Black district in the city of Mobile. That district is now District 7. District 7 now has a 53% minority population to a 41% Caucasian population. So it's 51% Black and 53% Black and 41% white out there, and then a little of the other that's in District 7. So that means that we have a solidly fourth minority district. So it means that, we have an opportunity in 2025 to elect someone other if we so choose, or if the people in District 7 so choose to elect someone other than the current council person that's sitting out there. And it doesn't mean that the current council person that's sitting out there does not do a great job, because Gina's done a great job over 16 years and now 17 years. So it simply means that if we choose, or if minorities choose to elect someone of color, then they have the opportunity to do that. And that vote by council was 6-0-1, which was to me somewhat pleasantly surprising, because it means that when everyone's working in the same direction, there's no telling what we can accomplish in this city as far as moving this city to the next levels of progressiveness, in my mind.
Okay, looking towards the future with that 53%, what would you say is a demand on our part as a member of now the majority in that group, in that district?
Well, what it means to me is that the culture of voting has to change. If we want to see change in a particular area or a district, then the only way we can do that is by voting. And that means that we can no longer sit back and say, oh, well, we're not going to win because we don't vote anyway, or we're not going to win because they're outnumbered. That's no longer the case. The culture of voting has to change to where everything that we do is about voting. When our kids turn 18, they must register to vote on their birthday. It has to be an automatic thing. we have to start taking our younger kids to the polls and showing them how to vote when we vote. We've got to do those little things that encourage, our forgotten voters, as I call them, who think, well, they just forgot about me and I don't have a voice to go vote. So we have a whole lot of things to do between now and 25. But we got to remember, we've got election day coming up this November. So
Yes.
our culture has to change. We have to get people back to the polls. I remember when people used to just say, oh, we got the vote. You used to whisper about it. We got the
Yeah.
vote, y'all. We got to go vote. And that
Mhm.
culture's changed now. And we've got to get back to that.
Yes,
So,
that's true. And actually anything you listen to nowadays, they're really preaching that and they're pushing it very, very hard. And then some of the organizations, like Stand Up Mobile, has been trying their best to do an outreach to the younger generation, which is a good thing. But you're right, we can't complain when we don't vote, and that means getting the young people in your family that are of age to go and see about voting. And of course, also to check in those who have been denied before for various reasons, to check to see what has to be done, because some of that has changed where they can come back on uh, and vote. Okay, so that was a success for us. Now, several organizations did a lot of work to help that, and the council members really, really performed as well. And we had packed houses at council meetings, and lots of the ministers and other people spoke up for the need to have a fair and equitable vote on that issue. And it played out. It played out.
yeah,
Um,
we
mhm,
did get a lot of help. Stand Up Mobile, the IMA, the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance, the Project 100 from the AME Zion Church,
mhm,
and just on and on and on. The NAACP and Robert Clopton, just so many help to make this work out, with continued speakers week after week for 28 actually weeks of this. So
mm,
the constant communication, or as I say, the constant drumbeat from the community, really helped to get us to where we are today. But like I said, we can't stop the drum from beating. We got to keep sending the signal up so that we change the culture of voting here. 9% turnout, 12% turnout is not very good when we've got 50,000 registered voters in the city and we only have 184,000 people in the city. So that means that we've got 50,000 registered voters, 184,000 people in the city, and we still have more people to register to vote. So we've
mhm.
got to change the culture when it comes to voting now, so that we understand the importance of change. And the only way to do that, the only way to get the change you want, is to go to the polls and vote for them.
Because even though that has been deemed, District 7 has been deemed a minority district, can be a minority district because now the minorities have the majority. If we stay home and don't vote in fair numbers, what could possibly happen?
No, not what could happen. What will happen is we'll be in the same situation that we are today, or we'll have the same format that we have today, where we're asking for representation that looks like the population, but we wind up with representation that looks the other way. And that's because we aren't turning out to vote.
Yes.
So again, it doesn't matter what election cycle we're in, we have to go vote.
And do you think, Councilman Carroll, that people understand that with District 7 possibly changing, what impact that has on the city council?
Well,
Would you talk?
I don't know if they understand or not, but what it does is, like, for the things you don't really realize, uh, passing the budget, and we're in the budget cycle right now in the city. To pass the budget for the city of Mobile only requires 4 votes.
Yeah.
And restructuring the budget may require a supermajority to get monies in places that it needs. But when you have people that are like-minded and thinking in the same direction, it gives you an opportunity to where the budget can be structured somewhat different to get resources in places that it hasn't been for 50 years. So it's an opportunity here for a whole lot of things and a whole lot of progressive change in areas where not only we support it, but others support it also.
Yes, yes, very good, very good. Thank you. Now, since we're on that topic, the redistricting, talk to us a little bit about the annexation. Where are we with that, and what exactly would that mean to the city of Mobile?
Well, there is no formal annexation plan right now. We've seen uh, what someone might, just arbitrarily put out there as far as numbers and places that they'd like to look at. But right now, we don't have any formal proposal from the administration that says this, that, or as we say in slang, or the other. We know the numbers that they like to get, but in my mind, I'm supportive of an annexation attempt, but it has to be fair and equitable and just for everybody. It just can't be lopsided, where we're just going out for a people grab. The other thing is that we have to know what annexation does to all 7 districts. What is it going to cause to happen in those districts? Then we need to know truly what is the growth coefficient in the areas that we're annexing. And then we
Yeah,
have to know how much economic improvements are we getting from annexation, and where are those dollars and resources going to be used in the current city. So there are a lot of questions that have to be answered before we can move forward with any type of annexation attempt. But like I said, I'm not opposed to an annexation attempt, but it has to be fair, just, equitable, and equal for all of us that are currently living in the city.
okay. And when you're talking about fair and equitable, could you talk to us a little more specific about what you mean about those two concepts?
Well, currently, the city has demographics that are, you know, that are, let's just say it. The city's a black city. There are 21,000 more blacks in the city than whites. I would
Mhm.
hate to see us go out and do an annexation and dilute that population.
Okay.
The Voting Rights Act simply says that you cannot annex it to dilute the black population or the voting population of the black community. So there's some
Mhm.
things that we have to look at so that it's just and equitable based on the current law and structure. So we can, I'm all in favor of an annexation attempt, but I'm not in favor of something that's going to be somewhat lopsided either.
Why do you think we're actually losing in our population growth?
Well, a loss sometimes, most times, has to do with quality of life.
Yeah.
Why are people leaving? I mean, is it the high crime rate? Is it the education system? Is it that they can't find the right property size and lots and homes inside the city? I mean, just look at it this way. Our housing stock inside the city of Mobile is thousands of housing units shy of where we need to be. So
Mhm.
people are going to find the homes that they desire. And a lot of times these homes are being built outside the city limits. So
Yeah.
we're losing people to some of that. We're losing people to some because they feel like our education system is a little bit different. And the others are just cultural amenities. So it just
Yeah.
boils down to the point of quality of life. As I say, we have to stop the bleeding to keep people from leaving. So we've got to dress up the city to make people want to be here, to want to stay. And until we do that, we're going to have some drain.
Yes. Yes. Uh, very, very interesting topic. Very interesting topic. And when you were talking about the economic improvements that annexation might have in regards to the city, could you be a little more specific and tell us exactly kind of what you see as an economic improvement?
Well, I'm talking about business and industries that are picked up through annexations. I'm
Yes.
talking about the businesses on the corridors, the Walmarts, the Publixes, the grocery stores, the gas stations, and those type of tangible businesses that provide an economic resource to support the annexation that we're bringing in. If you remember, under the Jones administration and in the annexation attempt, we brought in fewer people, but the economic bring was $12.8 million on an annexation attempt. If we do an annexation attempt now, I see maybe looking at an economic an annexation that may bring in 13, 14, 15,000 people, but we're looking at maybe $2 million in revenue coming in with those people. So, you know, that's questionable to me. The other thing is that they're talking about reaching the magic number of $200,000 allows for other grants and you know and things like that. But you know, grants are a one-time win or a one-time application. They're not you can't sustain a city on grants. So you know, we have to take a long look at everything that's economically involved with an annexation attempt. So, you know, that's where I am with that. Like, and again, I'm not against it. We just got to find out a way to make it work, where it works for the city and where it works for all of us that are here, you know, and to make sure that, again, it's just equitable for everybody involved.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Carroll. Is there something, and I had heard this some time back, I don't know if it really was a policy or whatever, that if, or a part of a law, if we annex, let's say we annex 10,000 majority population, then we would also have to annex an equal number of minority population. Do I have that right? Did I get that from somewhere?
Well, you know, we don't by law have to do that. And you know, if
Mike's gone.
you know, if we had to do that, that would be great. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
That would be great. If we had to do that, that would be great. You know, but the law doesn't say that we have to do that. And you know, that would be, that proportion would be, you know, 50-50. I would love to see that happen, you know, and I would love to get anywhere close to that. But, you know, the way the county's made up, I don't know if we can actually truly see those numbers where we're 50-50 at 10,000 and 10,000 if we're trying to reach a certain goal.
Okay. All right. Okay. That's fine. Okay. Let's shift gears a little bit and let us get into the Civic Center. What's happening with that? I know they've had a couple of meetings where stakeholders were present. Council members, of course, were present. And then you guys had some follow-up things like with the architectural review and then with the planning. So could you kind of give us some updates on that?
Well, so far, the populist proposal was, I thought, a good proposal. It had several different approaches to it. One was embrace the arena, and the other one was shift the arena. And I don't know if they call it dome or arena anymore because I keep saying dome. But in the embrace the dome, we lose both the expo hall and the theater to demolition, and we keep the dome, and then we do several improvements to the arena itself with some growth, and you know, we surround that with some potential zoning changes with residential properties and commercial properties around the arena itself. Proposed hotel with the Corps of Engineering's building, and also a parking lot or 5-story parking lot being erected in the rear of the arena. The other is the Shift the Arena program, where it actually shifts the arena and it keeps the theater, but it tears down Expo Hall, but it also has the same proposal to have residential properties along Lawrence Street, and it showed multi-story properties over there, however, which, you know, it would be somewhat a stretch in my mind, especially along the Church Street East side. And it also has the Corps of Engineers building in the rear, along with the parking deck by the city of Mobile. So those are the two approaches that Populous has presented. Now, the Corps of Engineers facility, they met with the Architectural Review Board last week, and they presented their concept and their concept had some questions and by the ARB that they'd like to see resolved, and it had a few design flaws based on materials that they'd like to see changed up a little bit too. And it was asked that they make those corrections before they submit. And I don't know how well that the design consultant for the Corps took that. And I right now, I don't know what they plan to do. Now, the next Architectural Review Board meeting is in September. Hopefully, they'll have some a different approach at that time, or they would have changed the design on the building at that point in time too. The Planning Commission also met on the same building, and it was more or less about planning and zoning changes and height of structure, and also doing things without a master plan. It's my position that if we do anything on that site, that it has to have a master plan to guide the overall development of the project and the properties. The actual UDC and the actual EDSA plan and the DDD that were developed over the years call for the site to have a master plan before development is done, and we have not done that yet. So hopefully we can get a master plan, slow this down a little bit, and review the master plan before we actually rush to something that might kind of unbalance the character in the trend of form base that we have downtown right now.
What tentative date were they proposing with either of these plans if they're accepted?
Well, I don't know a tentative date though, but the populist consultant referred to the 24.
Oh, okay.
So he's talking January 24, and that's based on design and bid laws and getting stuff ready to bid and get it out and ready to go. The Corps of Engineers is looking at a date of January 21. I mean, January 23, I'm sorry, of actually getting their project started. But however, they both still have a little bit of work to go before we really know what the true dates are going to be.
Talk to me a little bit about the parking garage, because we heard in the meeting that it would accommodate 1,200 parking slots. And then we also heard two of the Mardi Gras societies were there. And one group, the MOTs, said they easily have 6,500 to 7,000 at their ball. And then the other society said theirs is usually about 4,500. So are we going to be able to solve that parking issue? Because that's going to be major.
Well, I don't think we're going to solve the issue the way that we're currently planning. The parking deck won't have 1,250 spaces. The parking deck, as discussed right now, only has 1,000 spaces, which is 250 spaces shy of what's actually on the asphalt now. And if you remember in the meeting, I actually made that statement. I was like, on a large event, where the dome is full, we already have people parking up and down Canal Street in the communities. You're taking away 250 spots, so we're causing more traffic overflow and parking to be placed out into the actual communities itself in order for people to get there. They're suggesting that parking will be available downtown and people would walk 15 minutes to the dome for an event. But in my mind, in our culture here in the city, people want to drive up and get out, and walk into the building, especially on a rainy day. So,
and ladies would have on heels. We're not going to walk 15 minutes in heels.
Yes, ma'am. So, that's the current thinking that I've heard from the consultant when it came to parking and the use of the parking garage and deck that'll be on the south side of the auditorium right now. So, and it may be some more thinking that goes into that, but right now that is the current thinking that we're looking at with that parking garage. And look at it like this also. The Corps of Engineers is going to share it. The facility is going to share it. If there's actually a hotel ever built on the site, then they're going to share in the parking too. So we're only talking about 1,000 parking spaces, and with the major event, then we've got some other type of looking opportunities that we're going to have to look at when it comes to parking right there.
Yes, we'll have to, because that can definitely be a major hurdle. Okay, can you think of anything else you may want to leave with us before we sign off for today?
Well, no, man, but let me just give a shout out to Murphy High School. They're our biggest rivalry. I'm a McGill grad, but their farm to market program that was introduced last week was tremendous.
Yes,
The
I read
students,
about that.
oh, awesome. I had the opportunity to be there. The principal and everyone that's involved over there, and just the students growing food that will actually become meals for other people. That's pretty impressive,
It
and
is.
it's a whole lot of things that you learn when you start becoming a farmer. You learn
Yeah.
everything from math to agriculture and science and everything else that goes into play. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
there's two opportunities in the world where you probably learn a whole bunch from just hands-on experience, and that's
And
actually farming and carpentry.
yeah,
So congratulations to these kids and to the class, and I look forward to seeing what meals are made from the agriculture farm to school or farm to table project that they have.
that's great. That's what we call in education application of skills.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
they will actually apply what they have learned. Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
Uh, okay, we are about to close out. We do appreciate you, Councilman Carroll. You always keep us updated with what's going on or what may be coming up. I do have, and I think I mentioned this to you, we do have a meeting on Tuesday, and we're going to meet at the MOT's building downtown. And I think it's the police department that's calling this meeting. And it is because of a possible parade route change. You may know a little bit more about that.
Yes, ma'am. I was given the proposed change maps the other day. I'll shoot you a copy of one of the citizens from Church Street East, a proposal that they may have because of fear of being locked in or
Yeah,
isolated by the parade itself. Now, this change in the route, I'm not sure 100% why we're changing it. I do know that Bienville Square was under bid for renovations, and that the square hopefully would be under renovation during Mardi Gras season. And it may be that we need to keep the route from going around the square for season because of all of the construction activities that'll be happening there. And
yeah,
so it may be for a season that we do this,
yeah.
but I'll know a whole lot more after we get through this process of route change on Tuesday and
Okay.
talking to the police department. Hopefully you'll attend that meeting also.
I will. As a matter of fact, we've got 2 or 3. They really wanted the neighborhoods that would be directly impacted. And of course, Church Street East will be that, and then down the bay will be that, since we're relatively close to those changes. We did hear that the police department is thinking about, according to what we've heard, there are 3, maybe 4 new societies that want to also parade, and that they want to add to some existing parades, so that we would actually have like a double parade. And that's one of the things that the communities are really kind of up in the air about, because we felt like it's going to be pretty long anyway. And then you turn around and add another one. But anyway, we will go to the meeting Tuesday and see what's going on.
Just a thought, we start out with the County Cavaliers every year, and we have about a week's break in between those.
Yes.
We have several days that we can add to the schedule to add parades to if we so choose. So there's probably room in there for suggestions and also some additional time. Now, I don't know what it does to the budget, and you may hear some budget conversations
Yes.
when it comes to that. But other than that, I think we do have some days where we can actually have additional paraders or organizations parading on
And that's
those
kind of what,
days.
yes, that's what we were thinking about. And then we kind of consider, well, maybe the police are looking at the amount of overtime that they would pay out, and then the amount that city would pay for the workers to do the cleanup behind all of that. But anyway,
Oh, yes, ma'am.
we'll go to
We're
the
talking
meeting.
about a growing.
Yes, yes. But we will go to the meeting and we will find out what's happening. We want to thank you again, Councilman Carroll, for keeping us updated. And we want to, of course, thank our participants and thank our audience for allowing us to share this part of Sunday with you. We thank you for joining us. Please join us again next Sunday at 4 p.m. Thank you and good evening.